Good evening, chat. It is Hot Takes time for the week. This one is live on stream for once. Well, not for once. I do it a couple of times, but here we go. Right off the rip. First one of the week is Hot Take. I think role passes would be more interesting if some heroes were able to swap roles. Heroes like Mei, Hog, or Brig should have a special condition that allows them to be selected by more than one role. For example, if I'm either on DPS or tank, I should be able to use Mei, maybe give her 100 HP more if she's selected from the tank, and swap the passives. What? A warmer take? This would be great if aimed not towards a passive solution. So you're asking to swap roles? Like, if I queue tank, I'm able to pick Mei, but like have 100 more HP only, and that's it? You can select Hog as a DPS? This might be like a fun arcade mode, maybe like a role swap, but it's like locked onto like each role. But like, this is just too much. Like, this is just an unnecessary attempt at a solution that makes no sense. Like, why retroactively try to like balance Mei as a tank? Like, you're gonna have to balance a hero for both, because if you select it in the opposite role, then like, what does that offer in that particular role? You know what I mean? There's no feasible way that this could work out well. So like, yeah, no. I'm just moving on. Next hot take is Mauga could have ended double shield meta. Well, yeah, because Mauga can like burn and destroy shields, sure, but like, would that end the Mauga, or would that have ended double shield? Like, this is trying to insert Mauga into an era from 4 years ago. I mean, just on paper, yeah, he breaks shields from the tank role, but like, okay. What else? He breaks shields, but then he doesn't self-heal off the shield, so then where's his value? It would pretty much counter him. Yeah, he doesn't get any HP back with his haha or anything, so it's hard. Well, you could run past it. Well, what you could do is you sprint past the double shield with your overrun, press the haha button and get in their face, but that would also require your team to be ready to like get around the shield to keep you up, because a lot of the Mauga hahaing is banked on the supports pocketing the shit out of you when you go in as well, and you self-healing. You need the sustain from Juno or whatever. And if they're smart and they jump in your face as a tank, you can double shield and cut off the LOS of the other team. So no, this is Mauga could not have ended double shield, but like, you just can't look at like, this can break this, but then you don't think of the consequence. Because my damage does lots on shields, that means it could have ended it. No. Hot take, the community is too scared of CC and not scared enough of damage creep. Make a huge cut to damage output, and being slowed will be more of an engagement and less of a death sentence. It would bring more variety to the game. In essence, it kind of was a cut to damage creep by increasing a lot of the HP pools in Season 9, if you think about it, because burst damage went down a lot, so they did technically cut down the damage creep and the heal creep in the same vein. TTK slowed down for a lot of heroes. So you're saying making a huge cut to damage output and being slowed will be more of an engagement? This makes the game too deathmatchy though. If you cut damage too much, nothing dies. It's just gonna be like, imagine an average silver fight. Maybe in high ranks that the targeted team fight is good, they could like focus somebody down, but this is too deathmatchy. You say it's too scared of CC, but you also need CC to kind of like confirm kills. Are things dying too fast at this point? Like, other than Widowmaker, I think it's okay. You mean, what do you mean, you guys get what they're saying? It's more of an engagement, less. You're saying it's a death sentence by just peeking because you get bursted. That's only like Widowmaker. Like, they increase the HP, but people are actually dying. I would argue people are dying less often than they did before, even with the bigger projectile. On some matchups, some didn't get affected too much, then it might be the same, but is there really damage creep right now? Maybe with modifiers like Juno's ultimate and things, things die when they're amplified by it. If anything, I think the better take would be less about cutting the damage creep. Like, base damage against the base HP is fine. It's shit like Kitsune Rush, Discord, BAP Window, Ana Nano Boost, and like Juno ult is kind of what's making things blow up instantly if you don't respect that. And I think maybe tuning that part down might be the approach rather than just nerfing base damage. Do you guys see where I'm coming from? I don't know. That's where I see it. No single hero should have such a dominant presence like Widow or Hanzo just because they can one-shot. If the enemy picks Widow and your tank isn't using a shield, or your DPS can't win the 1v1 against her, you're basically doomed as an Ana. A skilled Widow can completely shut down your sight lines, leaving you with no options. I mean, right now Hanzo is not too bad. They do have his one-shot back, but like, it's a projectile, so like, it's less frequent than Widow. But Widow is kind of annoying as fuck. Like, I won't lie to you. Ever since the Sombra nerf, I'm feeling it now for sure. If there's less answers for Widow, like, it is so annoying just randomly getting domed by Widow all the time. I'm stuck playing like the most ineffective Ana of all time, where I'm just literally can never like peek or play any sort of reasonable LOS. I'm basically forced off my hero, but I guess that's kind of how it goes. If they force my hand, I'm forced to swap. Forces us to also swap the Doom. There's that King's Row game I played earlier today. My Zarya's like, dude, I can't play because like this Widow's just outranging and killing me. He swapped Doom and we ended up winning the game, luckily, because he just sat on the Widow. But you're right. If you don't have an answer for that, they could absolutely just be the server admin. It is frustrating, so I don't think this is like a particularly hot take. But that's the thing with a single hero having this presence. It's really player dependent. There's certainly those Widows that just 6 shots, 0 hits, and it doesn't feel that bad, which is why a lot of people have mixed opinions on the state of Widow, because maybe they just haven't run into a good Widow. But yeah, certainly a strong Widow is super, super annoying. I don't know. I don't really know what they should do with Widowmaker. Like, I'm fine with them removing the hero from the perspective of me getting fucking owned by her all the time. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to think from the perspective of a balanced dev where, like, you're trying to appease to all players to make it feel good. Give her a flinch. Oh, wait, you know what? I just remembered. You know what? I didn't like the suggestion earlier on, but, like, now it's growing on me. Sniper Glint. You know when Vindicta aims at you in Deadlock, you hear a ringing sound the longer she stays scoped into you. Some sort of response or some sort of like information to know that she's staring down your sightline. Whether it's a glint where she glows if you're looking at her, or there's a trail of her LOS, like a laser. Maybe not a laser, but like if her crosshairs are close to you and she's in your LOS, you hear a sound kind of thing. That makes it a bit more reasonable, in my opinion. Like, if she hits her shots, she hits her shots, but you can kind of respond a little bit better, even if you get outranged. Like, your only option is to hide out of LOS, which in fact does still give Widow value. It's like, hey, you know I'm looking here. You hear my being. You hear the sound, but yeah. Next hot take. Overwatch players are just as much to blame for the game not being what it should be. No skins for majority of players, that's because of whales and simps, so no Venture or Ram skins. Widow taking over your matches can't change her because identity and because her players would get salty. You have an opinion about the game and balancing? Well, that's too bad. You're lower rank than me, so your opinion doesn't matter. Overwatch players and streamers sabotage the game because they are selfish when it comes to these things and don't think about everyone as a whole. What? Are we truly sabotaging? Like, you're just a player that complains about things that are that you feel in your game, and that's valid, to be honest with you. If I'm personally frustrated by Widowmaker or Doom, I'll let people know the pain points of me. And it's not our job to think about as a whole. That's the devs' jobs, where they're supposed to listen to the wide community, like, what's frustrating you? What's frustrating you? They consider that and try to like account for their stats internally and what the community sentiment is around certain maps, certain heroes, and whatnot. It's not your specific job. I don't think it's selfish for me to say, yeah, fuck Widowmaker, this hero in particular. This is a big stretch to say we're sabotaging the game by just giving our opinion on stuff that frustrates us. Simply because you buy skins that you want, whales and simps, makes it so like it's our fault that they don't make the Venture and Ram skin. That's still the dev's executive decision to up the make stuff. That's not, you know, everyone looks out for themselves and advocates for themselves. This is a weird ass take, is legit in every game though. There's a vocal group of people who think content creators control the development of the game, and it's just crazy talk. That's because their only method of communication is from streamers. Because I can see why though. The take is because like it feels like the creators have like this influence because that's the only social circle that they consume their like communication from, is like the streamer says this and then a change in particular in the next patch seemed to affirm that complaint, which means that streamer convinced the dev team to do this, and I hate this streamer or content creator because they said this publicly. But that's not always the case. What is it called when it's like you think you have like this idea and then there's something that looks like it confirms it, so then you try to put the two together but they're not actually related as much as you think? Is it like causation? Confirmation bias. Yes, that's the term I'm looking for. So a lot of people have this terrible confirmation bias. It's like right now I'm bitching about Widowmaker, and if Overwatch Season 14 in 10 days nerfs Widowmaker, this Widowmaker player is going to show up in my social mentions and be like, KarQ sabotage Widow players because he said Widow needed to be nerfed. Yeah, it's my fault, and that's confirmation bias right there. Why Overwatch skin monetization is right from a corporate perspective. I mean, right? Corporations just want to make money, end of story. So what is all this? If a skin is very expensive, less people will have it. Okay, yeah. Some people are willing to pay a high price for something if they get something exclusive. Okay, yeah, that's in everything. Not only skins, but clothing as well, and bags, designer shoes. If the skin costs half the price of it, Blizzard won't necessarily sell double of them because it feels like paying for something that anyone can have. This is basic finance 101. I have an item and I cut the price in half. Does it double the people who buy the thing? Not necessarily. You have to turn the knobs as needed. Okay, at the end, you make more money by selling less but with higher margin. Depends on the situation, but mostly true. Porsche is the most profitable car manufacturer in the world by selling much less units than most of the others. But you also have to like get there to have that prestigious feeling. I can pay $30 for a great skin for my main hero that I won't see a lot in game. But I personally won't pay $5 for a skin that everyone else has. So you're in that bucket of a consumer, and that's fine. But it's weird to say that it's right from a corporate POV. But I guess you just worded it incorrectly. The point you're trying to make, your take, is that corporation is just trying to make more money, and they turned up the dial on higher prices. And that generates the most profit. There's not much more to say about that. Tank form is better than artillery form. You're talking about Bastion's ultimate, right? Artillery form is hit or miss for me. Tank form is objectively a stronger ultimate because it lasted way longer. You're able to rocket jump and still one shot, and you can choose. You can shoot more than 3. Like current Bastion ult, the beep boop beep boop is 3 circles, and that's it. And they're spaced out. The old tank form Bastion, you're able to shoot like how many? Like almost like 6, 7, 8 shots, and you can spend a couple of them to get a high ground rocket jump for like a new angle. Objectively, yeah, I would say tank form Bastion was better than artillery form. It's not really a hot take. Okay, hot take. One of the main reasons Overwatch 1 is regarded as better is because the overall lower skill floor and ceiling when the game started also goes from other shooters like COD, Fortnite, Apex. You say better in quotes, but I think you mean the better term is more fun and memorable because there's more. The skill floor and ceiling when the game started, it was lower, and that goes for every game. This is not really a hot take. I agree with this. When people don't know and things aren't giga optimized, a lot of people can reminisce and remember the feeling of the chaos, and they enjoyed the fun. But when you play something for a long time, you start seeing all the cracks in a product. You know what I mean? When something's fresh and new, that will always be perceived as more fun. You play 1,000 games of League of Legends later, like you'll notice all these little things and these item choices and the direction of the game. That's when you can get more grumpy and miserable. Same with Overwatch. But like, you know, Overwatch 1 2016, not many tactical FPSs out there. You just remember queuing with 3 or 4 friends. It was so fun at that time. And then you replay Overwatch Classic today, and then you're like, after you particularly have played thousands of hours of Overwatch 8 years later, and you try Classic for like a few games, you're like, oh, this is fun again for a bit. And then after a while, you're like, okay, this is, I mean, for me, I can just speak from my own experience. Classic was fun for like 10 hours. And then afterwards, my nostalgia wore off. And I'm like, okay, this is like absolute hot ass, objectively speaking. Was it better? No, but people do remember the glory days in those moments where the skill, like the average skill of everybody was a lot lower. And that was just, it was just fun in the time period. And it's okay to just remember that time. Okay, hot take. This is the last one I'll do. Hot take. Venture's a terrible character gameplay wise. Having a design philosophy up and down is dumb. What? And having a character who heals with every cooldown feels terrible to play against and leads to boring matchups of sitting and waiting till they come up and die. I disagree. There's a lot of other up and down heroes. There's some heroes that have a lot of verticality as well, like Echo, Pharah, BAP jumps, a lot of mobility. Like Venture's mobility is not even that crazy because Venture's range is pretty damn limited as well, where you do have to get close. Like Venture can be good in some maps right now, but I think Venture's it's in a fine spot. Definitely counterable, definitely ways to answer. And sometimes you just have to, instead of like waiting till they come up and die, you can force them out. If you force the cooldown and they have to burrow out, that's like a win in a way. It's like forcing a Reaper to Wraith out early, or forcing a Mei to Ice block early. Like that is a good resource trade based on their kit. The reason it's like Mei, Reaper, and Venture with these invulnerability abilities, their weakness is they have to be close range. So they have to figure out a way to close the gap. And that's kind of how they're balanced. Because they have so much HP, Reaper can lifesteal 300 HP, Mei has Ice Block, Ice Wall 300 HP, Venture 250, but then heals on each cooldown, kind of like is the same in that kind of like category. You know what I mean? But right now, like Venture has been nerfed enough where like the one-shot stuff has been tuned down a bit, where I think they're in an okay spot where they can selectively be played. I think Tree pulled out Venture in the OWCS last weekend, 2 weekends ago. It shows that it can still definitely be played in certain situations. But Venture's definitely not a generalist, definitely has weaknesses, and needs to be played up close, and that's why you don't see Venture being played too much on your average game. But anyways, I think that is all for this week. Thanks for your hot takes. Hopefully the chat enjoyed it. And see you guys next week. Submit your hot takes in the chat and in the comments. Bye.